Back with Lill from CMHA. It's our October show. I haven't seen you in a bit. I know we both got busy over the summer. We were just catching up off air. Lill, it's great to see you. I mean, with your job, I know there's a lot of stuff going on. I want to talk about diversity today and the importance of it in both a social and work setting. And I know that you guys had a symposium. It's sold out. You've did great things with it, but let's give the folks at home a little bit of information about diversity today.
For sure. We had a tremendous response to the symposium, and that's largely based on the fact that people are becoming more aware that diverse clients, diverse populations are making up this environment right now, right? And it's not just us white folks that are accessing services, living in our communities. So it's time for a mindset change, definitely, because as these populations grow and increase in our area, we're going to have to learn how to effectively interact with them, both in service delivery and just about everything in schools, in businesses, in our work environment, specifically though in service delivery, because many of us have been taught Western ways of practicing, right? And nothing's wrong with that, of course. But when you are helping individuals that are from different ethnocultural communities or diverse populations in general, you need to make some concessions and allowances for their culture and things like that, because you're really only helping them in one aspect, right? You need to look holistically at the culture, the beliefs of the culture, some of their, I don't want to say religion, but sometimes religion does take into account how we need to interact with different communities.
And I don't think, great answer, by the way, but with the diversity too, I mean, we're talking everything from Indigenous to LGB.
Yes.
Like everything in that. And I think that in itself, for the world in general, is a huge educational component. And by this symposium, just for our little corner of the world, you're opening that avenue up to have those conversations. And I think that's the part that we need to do, right? Is have those conversations about diversity.
Absolutely. It's 2022 now, right? And, we need to take into account diversity of all type. We cannot just continue to apply Western or one-dimensional type of service delivery and practices in regards to how we interact with diverse populations and communities.
And you brought up another word off air, that equality. I don't think we recognize that enough. And for the viewers at home, give me your view on equality, because I think you have a really good understanding.
Right. Now, you may have heard of a thing called white privilege. And even if we're not aware of what white privilege is, we do, in fact, have it, right? It's not necessarily a good thing. Most of us are aware that we do have the white privilege, but have the ability to understand and look beyond that and be more accepting and embracing of those perhaps that are not so lucky to have that privilege. So equality really comes into play with that. We are all equal. This thing about privilege, it really needs to go away. It's not something that we can continue to perpetuate intentionally or unintentionally. Equality is just that, treating everyone equally and with respect.
Can I throw the word empathy in there?
Yes.
Because I think that's another component that sometimes we sorely miss, that we need to be more, we need to, use that term in its proper protocol for all culture, all types of backgrounds. And I don't know if we do that enough.
No, we certainly don't. I mean, try to understand newcomers to Canada, the struggles that they're facing. They're missing their social support. Perhaps they were professionals in their country of origin and now are working at minimum wage jobs. You have to look at the LGBTQ plus communities and trans communities that, have trouble with people understanding their identity and really don't want to come forth in some situations because of how they're going to be stigmatized. and how people are going to react to them. So we really need to look at our empathy and try to understand what people are going through. We need to put aside our white privilege or our uniqueness privilege, for lack of a better word, and look at how what other people are experiencing that perhaps are not feeling that privilege. Yeah.
One of the things I saw recently, and it resonated, my wife and I talked about this, and it was just, I think it was a poster, and it was just two people of different backgrounds, and all it said is love is love. Mm-hmm. And I thought that just nailed it. Like it's that simple, folks.
Three little words. Three little words says it all, right?
And it's important for us to be that way, understanding culturally in every diversity, every opportunity we have to be diversity, we need to challenge ourselves to accept and understand.
Exactly. We are all equal, and there's no reason why we should not be all equal, right? We are all one. So, like I said before, it is 2022, and if you're really not embracing that concept yet, it's time that you start to look at your empathy bucket and see if it needs a little bit of filling.
Is there? I got to ask, because I know everything's sold out. Everything's for this symposium, but where did the idea come from? How was that something internally with Canadian Mental Health that you guys talked about?
Yes. So we received a generous donation from Imperial Oil from their Fuel What Matters campaign. And the theme of their campaign was social inclusion and belonging. And we thought, how timely and how apropos. So we formed a planning committee made up of providers from Haldeman, Norfolk. And we came together and we, planned these wonderful topics and speakers and sessions. And we had no trouble following that theme because, as I said, it was very timely and apropos. So that's how we got from point A to point B.
And in your job with CMHA, obviously with all your workers and your helpers, your therapists and all that, you guys must see so much diversity. Can you talk a little bit about that? And that's probably, over the years, you guys have been educated, sort of self-educated in all this. And
yes,
everybody, if you're a person with, trans thought process, that's what's happening with you, being able to talk to somebody about that in the CMHA must be huge, right?
Oh, for sure. It's really important that when we're helping individuals, all individuals, we really look at our practices in terms of what needs they need. And if we have any personal biases, we need to check them at the door at that point in time. And that is, excellent care and therapy and treatment for individuals, right? We need to be aware holistically of a person's environment, culture, background, all that, right? Their spiritual needs, and we need to kind of meet them where they're at. Never impose our Western, type of, practices on them or our Western style of thinking, because you're going to be not as effective in helping them. So if we have any biases at all, we need to check them at the door and do what's best for the people that we see.
And your job as the educator in that CMHA role, I know you've been doing it for a little while. It must be so rewarding to see how far we're coming, isn't it?
Absolutely. The response that we had to the symposium was very encouraging. It sold out, like I said, almost immediately. And so that means that people are eager to learn and want to learn. And that's extremely encouraging and positive.
Wow. I can't thank you enough for taking the time. I know you're busy, but I think it's important that we talk about, I think you and I could continue this conversation on diversity because it takes into account so many different areas. And being in the Brant, Haldeman, Norfolk region that CMHA works in, that you work in, I think it's just critical as part of that educational learning process.
Yes.
And thank you to CMHA for doing these, and Imperial Oil, right? Because
yes, absolutely. Yep. Absolutely.
All right, Lill. Again, thanks. Let's talk next month. I hope everything goes well and have a great day.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate the opportunity again.